Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
I would usually only do $200 to $300 a weekend, but because all of the hotel rooms were sold out, my friend suggested I go a little bit higher. She pushed me to $2,000, and I got
$2,000 a night,
$2,000 a person.
In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness. You want him to pay $628?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, knock my socks off. Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something. The law talks about something may in fact be true, but can they prove it? And that's what's tough.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Plaintiff Ramon Chavez claims he's owed money because his tenant rented out her apartment for Super Bowl. He's suing for $3,500. Defendant Lisa Tyner is countersuing for $1,800, claiming her landlord kicked her out without notice.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. So, Ms. Tyner, you decided that you were going to allow some strangers to come into a place that you were renting from Mr. Chavez, correct?
Correct.
And you made a nice little piece of change off of that, right?
Yeah.
And you're also countersuing him because he evicted you as a result
Exactly.
of that. Let's talk about this Airbnb thing. I have been hearing about it. Had you used it yourself?
Actually, a friend told me about it. So I met Mr. Chavez a couple of years ago, and I was a recent graduate looking for an affordable place for me because I'm a writer.
Okay.
And
you living by yourself?
Yes.
All right.
So.
And how long had you had the property, sir?
I just recently inherited it about 6 months before I met Mrs. Tyner.
Okay.
It's been in our family for 5 generations.
And is it an actual apartment? Is it a room?
Well, actually, in the late 70s, the family converted it into apartments, and it's a guest house in the back.
What did it start as initially?
It was a estate.
Okay, it was a single family residence.
Yes, with a guest house in the back.
And that was then converted into smaller units?
No, the estate was converted into apartments.
Okay, and that's one of the apartments, that's where you reside?
Actually, no, she resides in the guest house in the back.
In the guest house?
Which is separate to the apartments now where I stay and other tenants stay.
Got it.
So she's actually out of my view where she stays. So this is why it's taken this long for me to notice this.
Let's talk about what actually happened, because you weren't aware of what was going on.
No. What happened was I met Mrs. Tyner like 2 years ago. She seemed like a very nice person. So then I leased this back unit to her. It wasn't until about 1.5 years ago that I started noticing a lot of traffic going, but I mean, look at her.
Ms. Tyner, Mr. Chavez said that there was traffic going back and forth. Was that true?
I mean, there's traffic everywhere. Like,
No,
I have
not
friends,
everywhere. I'm talking about the guest house.
I have friends come and visit me, so I don't know.
The people that were coming back and forth, they were just friends?
Some were friends, some were for the Airbnb.
Okay, so some of them were customers.
Right.
Right. And so you were making money off of these individuals coming and staying, and then where would you stay when they were in the guest house?
I would stay at a friend's house, or I would
This
be
is
out of
exactly
town.
what I'm talking about. The place was unattended. There was nobody really, watching what was happening with the property
How long have you
itself.
been doing this?
Just for a couple of months. I was in between jobs, and I'm a writer, so it's very important for me to save up money so I can afford to pay months in advance.
You're just looking at opportunities to where you can get additional
Supplemental income.
supplemental income.
Your Honor, 2
Was there any
days,
discussion about
8,000,
subletting?
2 days, and she said she's been doing it a couple of months.
I'm sorry, say it again,
In
sir?
2 days, she gained 8,000
In
off my
2
properties.
days?
Yes.
She made $8,000 off
Yes,
of,
she did.
off of
and now she's
Airbnb?
saying for a couple months. Who's to say how
Wait,
much she made?
who was paying $8,000?
Well, the Super Bowl was that weekend, and a friend suggested that I list my apartment for. I would usually only do $200 to $300 a weekend, but because all of the hotel rooms were sold out, my friend suggested I go a little bit higher. She pushed me to $2,000, and I got
$2,000 a night?
$2,000 a person.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. This house has been in my family for 5 generations.
You're not happy that she made $8,000 off of your property.
She's making it off my property. If I didn't know
That's
this,
the
I
issue.
mean,
Coming up on America's Court.
Why didn't you include language that talked about subletting.
This paperwork was done before I inherited the property.
That's not her problem.
Yes, I know that it's not her problem.
Well, then if you know that, why are we here?
And later,
You're texting on your phone while we're riding. So we're all on our phones.
Before we take off.
We're in the moment of riding the bikes, and even in riding the bikes, we cannot put the phone down.
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Ramon Chavez, who's suing Lisa Tyner for $3,500.
How'd you find out about it?
Well, it wasn't too, like I said, it wasn't too late December that one of the tenants in the front
No,
house.
I'm talking about the individuals that we're here for. The individuals she made $8,000. How did you find out about that?
Well, one of the tenants had complained that she found out that she was running the Airbnb.
What was the complaint from the other tenant?
About security. I have an affidavit right here.
Okay, let's take a look. The other tenant was concerned about not knowing who was coming back and forth
Yes,
at
it was
the
a
property.
security. It was a security problem. And
Why? And did you factor that in, Ms. Tyner? That
I did. I've been there for a year and a half. I've been a great tenant.
now, how
and this
long
was
had
every
you,
once in a while.
All right, so you were doing that on a regular basis. You never mentioned it to Mr. Chavez
no,
because you
No.
didn't want him to know.
I didn't mention it because I read over my lease, and in the lease it said that as long as you don't have
Your Honor, here's
guests
how I
for
found
more
out.
than 15 days, that they.
I'm sorry. Let me see your lease. Oh, in fact, you have the lease here, sir.
You want to see hers also?
It says right
Your Honor,
here.
here's how I found out.
Take anything
It
after
wasn't
judge.
a couple of weeks before that you see on that affidavit that the tenant had brought
No,
it
I'm
to my
looking at the
attention.
lease right now.
She's got some of her stuff for you.
All right. Okay, we both have the same agreement. You cannot have guests staying over 15 days without the written consent of the owner.
These aren't guests, these are renters.
It's right there in the
All right.
lease.
What part of the contract says you cannot sublet?
It's not in there.
Deputy Thomas? Show me that. While I look at this one, where does it say, because you mentioned
Your-
guests,
your-
you don't mention making a business
Your Honor,
decision.
here's where the guest.
I just need you to show me in the contract where it talks about subletting.
Yes, I know. I noticed that in the contract that it doesn't say that. Okay, that she's able to do that. But the subleasing part, here's where I found out about it, and she was renting it, not sub.
You want to just kind of skip over that. Why didn't you include language that talked about subletting?
This paperwork was done before I inherited the property.
That's not her problem.
Yes, I know that it's not her
Well,
problem.
then if you know that, why are we here?
We're here because this individual on my property, which has been in my family for
Yeah,
5 generations,
She got paid.
She got
You don't
paid,
have
exactly.
anything in your contract
Well,
that says she can't do it.
She did actually do. I mean, but it is a breach, like of security on
What
our
is
property.
it a breach of?
Security.
What part of the contract has been breached?
Here's what happened.
I'm sorry, is it in section 1 of the contract?
It's in section 6. I went and knocked
Section
on her.
6, noise. You said that the person was concerned because they
About
didn't
security.
recognize the individuals that
Yes,
were
they
in
seen
the
strangers
premises.
being loud and late at night. You know, it's the Super Bowl weekend and party. So when I went and finally knew that she was renting it out, is when I knocked and I got greeted by these men in their 30s.
The ship is sinking.
The ship is sinking.
The cake is baked.
Well, Your Honor, I mean,
The sun has set.
then what you're kind of like telling me is that, like, basically, Lisa got over on me.
No, I am not saying that.
Okay.
What I am saying is you, as the owner of the property, didn't take prophylactic measures to ensure a tenant doesn't get over on you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that is on you.
Yes.
So we already know what's going to happen with your matter because you're suing her for the $3,500, which is what? What is that amount reflecting?
Well, I mean, that's the amount that it took that long for me to put somebody in there.
All right.
After she left.
Why did she leave?
I asked her to move out
And why did you ask her to move out?
because she was subleasing the
Okay.
property, and it's our property.
You asked her to move out because she violated a term and condition that wasn't in existence.
Well, actually, she
Let's
did.
go to
She
her
vi-
counterclaim. Why are you suing him for $1,800?
Because he asked me to move out immediately following the weekend that I had the CPA.
And you were still within the second year of your agreement.
Exactly.
And did you just say, fine, I'll move out, or did you move out?
I moved out that coming weekend.
All right.
I got my things.
Well, were you forced out?
Yes.
No, Your Honor.
Give me what is it that caused you to believe that you were forced
He
out?
came to me with a complaint from the
Your
neighbor,
Honor,
and he
told
said,
her
you
she
need to
needed
get your
move.
things and you need to get out.
She was
So
upset.
that's what I did.
I was upset that she made $8,000 off my property.
I got
and
the moving
then,
truck.
You know,
It's still on
I have my tenants complaining
He's
of
like,
security.
seriously.
You just digging a hole deeper and deeper because she
You're
really
probably
didn't
right.
have any evidence.
But I feel like a sugar daddy without benefits now. You know.
Well, you're going to really feel bad after you hear me give you this ruling. Because based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, let's start with your claim, sir. That's not going to happen. Now, as to the counterclaim, if you forced her out and she wasn't going to be able to prove it, but you said, I wanted her out. Well, then, how much was the rent every month?
$850, and he said that I kept the place clean. He kept my deposit, so I had to.
How much was your deposit?
$850.
But when
Okay.
she moved out, it wasn't clean. She moved out like a
So where
scorned
does
woman.
$1,800 come from?
The moving truck, the expenses for me to get a new apartment, and
She wants me now to pay her first and last
and my
on her new
deposit.
apartment.
Your deposit was how much?
$850.
Your first month was how much?
$850.
All right. That's $1,600, and then $200 for expenses?
Yes.
All right.
She should divide that out of the $8,000.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to divide it into you writing her a check for $1,800. That is the order. Case closed.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff has been ordered to pay $1,800.
I'm glad the judge saw things my way. It's not my fault he didn't know about Airbnb.
She made $8,000 off my property and got away with it. If I'd have known about this Airbnb thing, I would have put it in the contract a long time ago.
And coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
You're texting on your phone while we're writing. So we're all on our phones.
Before we take off.
We're in the moment of riding the bikes, and even in riding the bikes, we cannot put the phone down.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Keegan Snow claims his bicycle was damaged after the defendant intentionally ran into him during a social night bike ride. Mr. Snow is suing Ronnie Thompson in the amount of $4,500. Mr. Thompson claims Mr. Snow caused the accident because he was on his mobile device while riding. Mr. Thompson is countersuing for $1,000.
The two of you are both cyclists. Mr. Snow, you had your bike damaged to the tune of $4,500. Mr. Thompson, you had medical injuries, so you won $1,000. You're suing each other. Let's start with you, sir. Go ahead.
This goes back a long way, sir. I've known Ronnie since middle school over here. As you said, we're cyclists, so we'd ride around town. We used to make bikes in his garage. For summer, I'm back here in Chicago on an internship. I saw him out at a local coffee shop, actually, and he invited me to this event called Ride the Night. I have the flyer he handed me here.
Talk to me about Ride the Night.
Can I see this?
Yes, please. What is Ride the Night?
Well, it's an event he's running or that he's just in. Local
Let's Ride the
cyclists.
Night, Mr. Thompson.
Ride the Night. It's an event that a bunch of cyclists, over 100 cyclists, get together around the area, and we just go ride through the night. I mean, it's pretty. And
Folks
we've
are
done
on
it
bikes
before.
riding.
What's that?
Folks are on bikes
Yes.
riding. All right, and you decide to ride your bike while he's riding his bike with the other people.
I did, yes.
All right, and somebody collides with someone. Who collided with who?
He ran into me.
And his bike was destroyed.
Yes, sir.
All right, why shouldn't you have to pay for the cost of his bike?
Because I believe that since he was on his phone during the night, also he.
I'm
did,
sorry, I thought he was riding. I thought you were riding the bike.
I was using my phone to clock the speed.
Stop. It's Ride the Night. We're on bicycles at night, and you're on your phone clocking your speed.
Coming up on America's Court.
We're in the moment of riding the bikes, and even in riding the bikes, we cannot put the phone down.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Keegan Snow, who is suing Ronnie Thompson for property damage.
You're thinking, I know, I'm going to take out my phone and use this app that allows me to record my speed. And are you just holding it to capture the speed?
It's just right here.
You're
Just one
holding
little
it right
button, one
here
touch,
as you're
and that was
riding
it
with all
was.
these other people.
I was in front of the pack. I was alone. Decided to clock my speed.
Well, I thought it was a community thing. And it's 15 miles.
The way he made it sound was that it was just a ride, but what he forgot to mention was right before we all took off, he decided to send me a text message saying, "See you at the finish line."
Okay, you're texting on your phone while we're riding. So we're all on our phones.
Before we take off.
We're in the moment of riding the bikes, and even in riding the bikes, we cannot put the phone down.
I sent that before we took off, before the race, just as a friendly, hey, see you at the end. I didn't know that he'd be using
What did you
it.
exactly text him?
Just see you at the end see you at the finish line.
So
Well,
the ride turned
you were
into a
there
race.
with him. Why did you need to text him that?
We didn't see each other at the beginning. I
You
didn't see
text him, see you at the end of the ride.
Yep.
Is that what it said?
"See you at the finish line." So the ride turned into a race. So he was about 100 feet back while we were there, and I could hear him yelling at me, "You're not going to win this time. You're not going to win this time."
Are you yelling at him from 100 feet behind saying, "You're not going to win this time. I'll see you at the finish line"?
Yeah, I was just for her friendly kind of
What
race.
he's saying is true.
Yes.
All right. What does it have to do with you being on the phone testing your speed? I don't get the connection.
With all due respect, sir, it's the fastest speed I've ever clocked. 42 miles an hour.
Why am I even
I
here? I mean, if that's the
I need to prove.
case.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
What's your issue?
So I believe since he was on his phone and made a rapid stop.
You saw him being on his phone?
Yes, I
Okay,
I
so he's distracted.
yes, I believe he
You're
was
not.
No,
You hit him.
I was speeding up to him.
You want to ignore what I just said. You're saying he's distracted. You're saying you're not distracted.
Yes, sir.
He didn't hit you. The person that was distracted was hit.
Yes, sir.
You have proof of the $4,500?
I do. It's
Show
up
me. Oh, you
in
gave me
the-
everything.
The bike is $3,700, and my phone is $800. As you can see here, if you want this for evidence.
Because the phone got damaged too. You're so busy trying to clock yourself. Now you got to get a new phone.
True, but it is
Is this a
completely
picture of
destroyed,
the,
not just damaged.
This bike is that expensive?
It is.
Is it some sort of customized, fast racing
It's a
bike?
professional bike. Even some pros in the Tour de France have that.
Oh, and I guess the folks in the Tour de France, they're also clocking their speed while they're traipsing through.
They have people that do that for them.
Exactly.
I had to improvise. I did not.
Exactly. You got a problem with you clocking yourself while you're operating a vehicle with 100 people in the evening.
I've learned my lesson, sir. I
Good.
was injured too.
All right, well then you'll have to eat the cost of that phone. I know this is something that's going on. People are using these apps to take advantage of, I don't know if they're just bored or, watch me morph into Tyra Banks. Watch me have flowers on my hair. Why? And I'm sitting here going, there's a time and a place. $3,700 is your judgment. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $3,700.
I'm really glad I got the money back for my bike, but Judge Ross really laid into me about using my phone app, and I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
He was distracted by his phone, and I shouldn't have to pay for the damages done to his bike.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.